For years, driving a diesel-powered car has been the most efficient way to get around. But now with the new electric cars on the scene, is it still the best way to get around if you're doing a lot of miles? I've got the new Audi Q4, all electric, and a diesel-powered Q5 to do a test. This is pump versus plug. This is a real-world test of, is it still more economical to own a diesel-powered car or an electric car? Now, a lot of people say, oh, well, electric cars are a lot more to buy in the first place, which in some cases is true, but you save a heck of a lot of money on fuel. So, we're going to do a test. We're going to drive from here in Bournemouth into central London. We're going to go and see the Queen. We're going to go to Buckingham Palace. We're going to do all the sites. We're going to drive around Trafalgar Square, all of those popular spots. And I don't know why, just because we need a bit of a road trip to test it out. I'll explain more as we go on, because there's lots of different points in this test. But the main point is, I filled this car up this morning from a home wall box, 7 kilowatt charger, and it has cost £5.45 in electric. Okay, that is because I took use of an overnight tariff. I've got an electric car tariff at home, which means 5p per kilowatt for 4 hours, and then the rest of it 15p. It has cost about, let's call it £5.50, okay, to fill this car up, and that has given me 278 miles of range. That's 100%. Now, the advertised range on this car at 100% is 316 miles. So already we're at, what, a 50-mile disadvantage over what it should advertised figures be doing. So that's one part of the test, to look at that, how quickly it drains it on a motorway. The other part is, we're going to go and put £5.50 worth of diesel in that diesel car over there. See how far it gets on the same amount of money. It's not going to get us to London. But it might just get us to Winchester, say, and then we'll have to put more money into the tank of burning fossil fuels over there and see how far that gets. I think 276 miles. I should be able to get into London and back without charging, but I don't know. This is a real world test. That's why I'm doing this. This is real world. We're not messing about. I'm not doing anything in super hyper miling mode. I'm just using this car as a normal car. You know, if it gets cold, I'm going to put the heating on. If it gets hot, I'm going to put the aircon on. I might want to put my heated seats on. This is the end of October now, so as you can imagine, it's a little bit chilly. I've got my jacket on, so it's not a warm day. Again, electric cars don't like the cold weather. So let's get to it. So there it is. He has put £5. He said he accidentally put £5.60 in it, which I think I will have to allow him. I'll call him in a minute and see how much that's added. But as you can see here, there's my starting point. 276 miles from £5 something or other, £5.40. Let's get to it. Okay, we've just filled up at the petrol station. Darryl with his £5.60. Let's see how many miles he got.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Darryl. So how many miles has your car gained by adding £5.60?
5 miles.
5 miles?
Yeah.
What? That's ridiculous.
It went from 190
yeah.
to 195. It's just dropped back to 190.
Okay. £5 and it's only got in 5 miles. What? Okay, yeah, I mean, I've won this, haven't I? Surely. In what world don't I win this challenge? This is quite clearly going to be much, much cheaper to do this journey in an electric car than it is a diesel. The diesel days have gone. You have heard it here first. There's no need to be polluting the atmosphere with dead dinosaurs anymore. We've solved the problem. Perhaps not. We'll see as we go along and do more calculations. I'm going to get the prices of these cars on a monthly figure as well, and see how much more this car is than that car per month. I don't know. I have no idea. You might be able to hear the sound of a Ferrari FF next to me. Nice car, but that leads me to a point that again, I'm not just rambling on and going and being like Mr. Defence Secretary for electric cars, but a lot of people say, oh well, electric cars, you just don't have the feel, you just don't have that noise, the excitement, the passion, the feel of the car. Well, if you have a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or a Porsche or an AMG Mercedes, I agree with you. You are going to miss that flair of internal combustion. You are going to miss that noise, that screaming V12. But if I was in that other car now, am I going to miss the sound of a miserable 4-cylinder 2-litre diesel? Absolutely not. No way. I would want it to be silent. So think of it like that. Yes, you're never going to replace a supercar with an electric car and think that you've done the right thing in terms of enjoyment and thrill and excitement of driving that sort of car. It's not gonna work. But if you can replace, no one drives a supercar every day, right? So if you are in a very fortunate position to be able to own a supercar, the chances are that you also have a normal car for going to the shops in, going into town, doing normal jobs, doing the school run, whatever you might be doing as a normal person, not in a supercar. And in that case, why wouldn't you want it to be relaxing, quiet, sophisticated, refined? Because you don't want that noise of a hideous 4-cylinder. What's the point? Why would you have a noise when you can have silence? It's so much better. Unless you've got a V12 or a V10 or a V8. Then I understand your point. Right. Just driving past Twickenham right now. So this is the first time we've come to a stop. In fact, the motorway has been unbelievably clear. So literally, motorway speeds all the way here. 91.5 miles we've done. My current range is 203. I've just spoken to Daryl. His current range is 180. And this is the bit where the electric car is going to take over as well. So this is going to be, you know what? This is going to be tighter than you think. Not just like in terms of cost, I've smashed it, but in terms of actual like indicated range to the amount of miles that we actually do, I think the diesel might be lying quite a lot as well. So yeah, that's interesting. Also, this Audi Q4, fantastic car. If you wanted to see a review of this car, because this isn't really a review of the car, this is just an electric car versus an diesel car. They just both happen to be as similar as possible. You know, both Audis, both similar price, both similar size. This actually has a bigger boot space, so it's slightly better for a family. But if you wanted to see a video review of the Q4 when I borrowed it the first time, then the video will be on our channel or in the description, so you can go and check that out. So here we go. This is the bit where I catch up. This is the bit that I've been excited about, the town driving, the bit that everyone hates. Stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, traffic everywhere. Everything I drive past has a diesel engine. That's a, what's that? A Nissan Kumquat, Qashqai, a Skoda Yeti, a Vauxhall Astra, going the other way, van Tiguan's, Q7, A7, something other, loads of nondescript vehicles. A Ford Galaxy, what on earth is that? Some sort of Vauxhall, another Skoda. This was my point earlier. Normal people aren't driving V12 Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Normal people are driving normal cars. So you don't miss that noise. You really do not. You want it to be quiet and refined and relaxing as you go through town sat in traffic. Welcome to London, where the average speed, I think, is about 4 miles an hour. Massive Rolls-Royce Cullinan next to me. Cool car. Lot of money. So here is, I mean, you've probably seen London before. If you haven't, then here is a montage of London. Okay, so we're at Hyde Park now. Here's Daryl.
Hi.
He's been driving the Q5. Let's see what his mileage is saying. So obviously we've both driven exactly the same, which is 100 miles, I think, exactly to this point. 53.2 miles per gallon and 180 miles of range left. 180 miles of range. That's pretty good actually. You left with 190. And then put £5 in and it gave you 5 extra miles, which then went up and now come down. I'm not as confident as I was 5 minutes ago before I found that out actually, because now I'm thinking about it, that has used, from your starting point, that's used 10 miles. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Let's have a look. In this, then, I've got 206 miles of range. Done 3.9 kilowatts per hour, miles per kilowatt, sorry. So yeah, 206 miles of range. I left with 276. I've used 70 miles of range, but I've done 100 miles, so it's not bad. It's like, that's good still. That is still good. I've still used less than what it thought I would. But this is the bit where the electric car might just catch up. We're just at Hyde Park now, so now we're going to actually go into proper London. You might be able to see it, you probably can't see, but I can just about see the Shard in the distance and the wheel thing. So we're going to go into proper London now. That's when this car is going to start making a lot more sense than the motorway, because electric cars hate the motorway and diesels love the motorway, and then it changes over. So let's see how we get on as we continue our little test. Just as a side note, I just went and bought this fairly alright looking Mexican bean and avocado sandwich, which cost the same price as filling this car up with fuel. £5.50 to eat a sandwich or to drive to London and back. Anyway, onwards. Okay, we have just come off the motorway now, back in Bournemouth. We've been driving for nearly 5 hours, very tired. 203 miles we've covered, and we're not quite back yet, but another 5 miles or so, not quite back yet. I've got 82 miles of range remaining, so 82 and add 203, that's about 285 miles of range, if that is accurate, which I left with 276, I think. So pretty good, pretty accurate. I just spoke to Daryl, and he has got, so I've got 83 miles of range. He's got 90 miles of range. There we are then, parked back next to my car. So let's have a look at the all-important scores, and then I'll check with Daryl, see what his is. We won't do it now, but because I think there's probably some fairly complicated maths involved. We'll go back to the showroom, figure it all out, and then tell you the final verdict. Right, so 79 miles of range remaining. That has taken 5 hours and 8 minutes to drive. We've done 207.5 miles since we set off, and averaged 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour. That's an average speed of 40 miles an hour. I think that's pretty good, considering that so we've done 207 miles, and probably only about 10 of those miles weren't on the motorway, which is this car's worst enemy, as I said before, is a motorway. But I'm genuinely impressed, and also very, very comfortable car. And well, we're going to go and find out the prices now, the price of it and the monthly price, and figure out all the costs involved, and see how much you would save having an EV over a diesel car, or if you would save at all, because that car has also been unbelievably efficient. I think it had done like 50 something miles to the gallon. We'll find all that out in a sec. Okay, back. It's the next day, and I'm in the back of a Range Rover just because it's the quietest place I could find to record this little last bit. Been doing some maths. All this maths I've been doing. I've overcomplicated it really. All you need to know is the results of that trip, and they are, well, the diesel car used £27 and 18 pence worth of diesel. Because we went into London, there was a congestion charge of £15, which means the total trip in the diesel Q5 was £42. The electric car, the electric Q4, used £3.95 of electric. That's it. So, I mean, what's that? Just under a 40 quid saving, basically, straight off the bat, just on one trip alone. So you multiply that by many, many, many trips. In fact, I'll show you the workings, just briefly, because in case you guys want to work out how many miles you do per year. Bearing in mind, these calculations are done on a motorway, so that is the car doing 52 miles per gallon. It ended up costing 13p per mile, and obviously a motorway, as I've said many times, is not the friend of an electric car, but it still only costs 2 pence per mile. If you were doing that in town, I would double the efficiency, so like 1p per mile in the electric car, and half the miles per gallon in the diesel, roughly. So which would give you say well, it'd be just under that, so it'd be 20-ish p per mile in the diesel. So how much do cars cost? And that's the other thing. Is the diesel a lot cheaper to buy in the first place? Well, no, it's not. So what we did is make the cars exactly the same spec, so we could do it fairly. And on a 4-year PCP deal with a £5,000 deposit and doing 8,000 miles per year, the diesel car was £607 per month, and the electric car was £593 per month. So again, you're saving there as well. Not just that, but you obviously have to pay road tax in the diesel car, which equates to £41 per month. So you add that on as well, and then start to add in your savings on the fuel. You're basically saving in excess of £100, £150 a month, depending on the sort of driving you do. If you only do, if you do town driving, then you double that again. It's crazy. The difference is crazy. Electric all the way. Obviously, as you saw, I had no problems in terms of range, and that's cold motorway driving as well. So yeah, it's a no-brainer. At this stage, it feels like with that Q4, it really feels like we've hit a turning point of what is possible for an electric car. It really is so easy to live with now. If you did, I don't know, if you did, well, actually, I've written this down. Sorry to ramble. You've probably turned off already because you found out the result. But where's that thing that I wrote down? The average miles. Yeah, this is a good one actually. So the average miles that people do per month is 617 miles. That's in the UK 2021 summary. So that would cost you in the electric car £12 per month, which means that you would get 3.5 months worth of electric for moving about for the price of 1 month's road tax in the diesel. So yeah, I don't need to convince you anymore. Go and buy an electric car. Goodbye.